Well, welcome to Vitruvian Book Review number 26 for the 2021 Vitruvian reading list. This is the list of books that I am reading one book a week, every week throughout 2021 until I have crushed at least 52 books. This week's read was a great one. It was Time Rich by Steve Glaveski. And so let's just dive right in. What's the book about? Well, the book is about how to take back your time, how to operate as efficiently as you possibly can, both in the workplace, at home. It's a great book to help you understand how to prioritize and stop doing the things that you shouldn't do to allow yourself more focus on the things that you're really good at and that are worthy of your time. Here's what's really cool. So, I do personal performance coaching for entrepreneurs and business leaders. And one of the things that I'm constantly telling them to do is that you have got to clear out the clutter and only do those things that only you can do. It's really hard for an entrepreneur a lot of times to understand their true value. I was this guy. Whenever I bought my first business, I was out cutting the grass in front of my office building because I thought I couldn't afford to hire someone to do it. Now, monetarily speaking, just in the general sense of the word, I really couldn't afford to, but it got to the point where I couldn't afford not to because my time spent cutting the grass in front of the office was time that I could have spent doing business development, doing training for my, at the time I owned real estate brokerages, doing training for my agents, doing a lot of other things, clearing my head to think and to ponder and figure out how I was going to grow my business. And that's what Glaveski goes into to help you understand those things that you should and should not be doing. One of the cool takeaways that I came up with from the book, because, okay, let me tell you something. I absolutely hate, and when I say hate, I mean despise, can't stand doing those stupid little menial tasks like having to return an item. Ugh, great example. I have a pair of Raycon earbuds that don't charge. I have had them now for 2 weeks. I not returning them just because I don't want to go through the headache of driving up and returning them and all this. It's just I hate doing that. So one of the things that Steve Glaveski talks about is Novel Robocon, and I hope I'm pronouncing Novel's name right. You know who he is. Novel Robocon has a principle that he lives by, that if the thing, in this case, my Raycon earbuds, if they are worth less than my prescribed hourly rate, he throws them away. Doesn't even bother returning them because here's what happens. There's always an opportunity cost to every single thing that we do, right? For me to go and return the earbuds, that's going to take time. So if I have decided that my time is worth 200 bucks an hour, then all of a sudden the time to return the item costs more than the item itself. And that is one of the principles that I try to always get my entrepreneurs that I'm coaching to understand. And that's one of the things that is reinforced in this book. And the cool thing is that Steve Glaveski, he draws from some really smart people like Tim Ferriss and some of the principles that he offers up in the 4 Hour Work Week. James Clear in Atomic Habits. Atomic Habits. There's some of that in there. There's also some Stephen Kotler and the idea of flow and getting into a flow state and how you can do that and how you can focus. It has really, really practical applications. If you've listened to my channel before or listened to my book reviews on this channel before, you know that whenever I'm reading this sort of book, I want to make sure that there's good utility value. And that's the cool thing about Time Rich. There is an enormous amount of utility value. Here's the deal. He actually takes and puts in here exercise after exercise, a lot of tables that you can create to actually calculate those little bitty savings of time and money and the things that can really, over a period of time make huge compounding differences. And so that's one of the things I like about it. It's not just all philosophical. It's not just like, well, try this and this or that. No, there's practical applications. One of the things that I thought was really cool, speaking of applications in the digital actual technology sense of the word, there are a lot of programs and applications, apps that he mentions in here that I didn't even know existed to manage email, to pause email. Like, here's something that I cannot stand. And whenever he is writing about that individual that has a hard time getting into deep work, uh, I'm that guy. It's really hard for me to just cast everything aside. And now it's almost like, how do you do that whenever you have to do most of your work on a computer where there's constantly these little interrupters coming in? You've got your tabs open to your email or some other application. Sometimes there'll be a text message that pops up because for some reason Apple thinks that all devices need to. It's kind of like, do y'all remember anybody that's ever watched The Office? Ryan and came up with that stupid company Wolf, where if you sent a text message, it would fax, it would call, it would do the whole thing, and how annoying and stupid that is. Apple apparently created their own Wolf because sometimes, unless you turn the notifications off, every freaking Apple product you have that's connected to your iCloud will go off if somebody calls. It is the most annoying freaking feature that they have. And I think it just does it by default. Forgive me for that tangent, but anyway, Apple, get rid of your freaking Wolf. Let us decide if we want to hear from every damn device we own at one time. My iPad, my iPhone, the laptop I'm on. The point being, there's all these disruptors that are coming at you. Well, what Steve Glaveski does is he offers up a bunch of cool applications that you can, like plugins for Google and sort of and different applications that you can actually pause your emails for a certain period of time so that basically nothing gets in and you can go into that deep work undisturbed. And so that was one of the things that I thought was really cool. Let's see. The book is absolutely quantifiable. He backs up everything he's stating either with real life application that he has experienced or good documented information from others. So again, a lot of utility value, a lot of good examples. Another good, another kind of comparable author to what Steve Glaveski is, and he draws from David Allen from Getting Things Done. You know, this whole idea of distilling your work and actually don't just take things in a whirlwind, but take the things that you have to do each and every day and put them in their proper place and decide again, is this something that I really need to do? A lot of us are so busy because we're doing a bunch of crap that we shouldn't be doing. It should be put to someone else that is really good at it. And here's a great idea that I had never even thought about. So, like, whenever I'm working with my clients, what I've noticed about a lot of entrepreneurs that I work with, and you've seen this too, and you've probably heard this before, you're supposed to work on your business, not in your business. So, really, what the hell does that mean? Okay. In practical terms, Steve Glaveski, he doesn't use that exact phrase, but here's what he's talking about. Strategy is the tough part. Strategy is where you will pay somebody big bucks because they can come in and they can, based on their past experience, match with some education or whatever the case may be, and they can figure out, okay, here's what you should be measuring. And this is one of the things he goes into. It's about figuring out, what are you going to manage? What are you going to be measuring? Because remember, what gets measured is what will get managed. So understanding where to put your resources is of utmost importance. So one of the things he talks about is he is willing to pay a significant premium for someone who can get to the what we should be working on. And then you can go get someone for a lesser rate to actually execute the thing, because then it's just formulaic, right? It's a methodology. It's actually putting those actual tasks in place and then turning them over to someone else to execute the tasks. So it's separating those things that are working on the business versus in the business. And I can tell you, one of the things that I see every single day with my small business clients is these are entrepreneurs that just start up and they're just reacting and they get in the whirlwind. And then before you know it, what they're doing is they're working on a lot of the execution. And by the way, the fact that they're entrepreneurs means that they're probably not the best at actually executing. I can tell you right now, I'm a terrible executor. I am much more of a figuring out, here's what we need to be looking at. Here's how we need to measure this. Here's what we should get someone to do. I know the things that we should be doing, but I'm not the guy to do that. Why? Because I get bored and it's just not my talent. It's not my gift. So I need to go find that individual that can actually get down and execute the process. So that was really important. Let's see. As far as okay, what ifs and has the book caused me to look at anything differently? Like for me, I can't say that it had me look at things a whole lot differently. What it did for me is it reinforced a lot of the things that I have really tried to do. And some of you who out there who might be listening to this that are in business consulting, management consulting, you're like me, you're a performance coach and you do strategy consulting and you're trying to get your clients to understand in someone else's words how they should be conducting business to be more efficient, to free up their time, to free up their mind, to focus on what really matters in their business. I cannot more highly recommend this book. And here's something else. It's crazy. So I have a podcast, The Jason Wright Show, right? It's an interview format show where I'm interviewing thought leaders from all over and a whole different array of backgrounds. So I'm pretty tuned in to other podcasts as well. I had no idea that Steve Glaveski, and some of you that are going to watch this, you're going to laugh and say, dude, how could you not know that? That he has a podcast, Future Squared. Highly recommend it. I highly, highly recommend it. And so going back on, did I learn anything new? What if I hadn't read it? Well, actually, I said that no, it just reinforced a lot of the things that I already knew and was thinking and just kind of gave me some different ways to think about it. No, that's wrong. Because as a podcaster myself, he does give some great insight into how he manages his podcast. And I will tell you right now, Steve Glaveski has a lot more downloads than the Jason Wright Show, but the Jason Wright Show is very good. And so you should tune into it. iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. I would be so grateful if you would listen. But it's guys like Steve Glaveski that are crushing it, that have figured out how to do it in a methodical way, save time, and only focus on those things that he wants to. And I could really relate to him. And for those of you who might be watching this that are content creators yourself, this is a great book for you because that's what Steve Glaveski has devoted himself to doing. He was a big firm management consultant. I come from that background from years ago, and then goes into the world of entrepreneurship. And now he wants to write, do his podcast, do his blog, do some personal coaching and speaking engagements. I mean, essentially the guy is living the life that I want to live at that level. I'm living that life, but I want to take my game up to Steve Glaveski's level. So if you yourself are a content creator and someone who wants to be a business coach and wants to do this sort of thing, Steve Glaveski is a great guy to bring on as a virtual mentor. So, and you can do that through Reading Time Rich, this book. You can do it through his podcast, Future Squared. Fantastic. Hope you'll check that out. And I really do hope that you will check out the Jason Wright Show. And also, please, 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 please. So the motto for the Vitruvian Project, the Jason Wright Show, is to improve always in all ways. And one of the things that I include or where I kind of take and aggregate all the things that I'm doing to improve always and always is in my newsletter, the Vitruvian letter. It's every week, every Thursday. It's just a way, it's like cool articles I found, scientific research. It will include at least one new article from my blog, which is over at jasonrightnow.com. You can check those out. It'll usually include one of those, as well as an article, an idea, or something I'm researching that's specific to the Vitruvian letter, as well as just some other goodies that I've discovered that week, that I'm working on, that I'm thinking about. And it's concise. It's a quick read, but I do try to keep it content rich with utility value things. I want it utility value things. I guess that sounds all right, but I want it to have utility value for you. I want you to think, God, I'm going to check out, I'm just going to scan the Vitruvian letter to see, is there some new exercise that Jason's trying that's helped him, reduce his body fat? Is there some new supplement that he's taking that is helping with skin or hair growth? Is there some new mindfulness technique that he's using that maybe I can incorporate to kind of mix my tapping up with, or whatever you're using, some sort of box breathing that I'm trying? I put all that in there just as, hey, this is what I'm experimenting with. Maybe you'll give it a try. So I hope you will check that out. And with that, please subscribe to the channel. I'm begging you, please. I want to build this channel. And the reason why I do this is it holds me accountable. The best way to really learn something and to make sure that I'm getting the most out of these books is to come and kind of talk about them. I want to share the wealth and help you. I believe that if I endeavor to help as many of my fellow men as possible, it'll come back to me. So the best version of me will spill over into my fellow man. That's the idea with improving always in all ways, and trying to reach that perfect proportion that Leonardo da Vinci was trying to reach with the Vitruvian man when he drew it. I want to do it on more of a nutritional level, emotional level, relational level, you name it. So check back here for the book reviews. And I'm going to start putting some more content on the channel too, as well as kind of showing some other things that I'm doing. But with that, please subscribe. The Vitruvian Letter, you can do that at jasonwrightnow.com. Please do that. And please, please, please listen to The Jason Wright Show. Leave a rating on iTunes. I would be grateful. And any comments you have about this, I'm all ears. There's no ego attached to this. I'm just figuring this out as I go, and I want to learn from you. You are the marketplace. So thanks for however you found this. I really appreciate you stopping and listening to my rant about Time Rich, which I think is a great book. Take care.